Welcome to Men and Women Talk, the Mars Venus Show, with your host, Kinte and Shannon. This program hosts a weekly panel of men and women who discuss topics such as dating, the workplace, family, spirituality, cheating, and of course, sex. Monday nights at 6 p.m. Men and Women, 9 p.m. Eastern. This show is simulcasted live, audio, and video between the website indieradio.org and YouTube, which allows listeners all over the world to gather together to tackle challenging relationship issues. And now here is your host, Shannon and Kinte.
Hello, and welcome to an all new episode of Men and Women Talk, the Mars Venus Show. I am Kente, one of your hosts, all the way live from Los Angeles, and this is episode number 116. And I'm so happy to be with you, fine people, tonight. And I'm joined by my wonderful co host, the one and only Shannon. How are you doing, Shannon?
I am good. How are you? How was your weekend?
My weekend was pretty good, I have to say. My mother, who's in town,
Mm-hmm.
she was recognized at our church and was one of the top members of the church and her service to not only the church but the community. And I was very proud of my mom. And my brother came down, and a lot of family
That's awesome.
members came, and it was just really cool. So that was good. So I did go to church yesterday. So, but enough of that. What about your weekend?
Well, I worked the dread 4 Fridays. Um, so when I got off Saturday morning, it was lights out. I hung out for a little bit, me and Teddy P, and then I went to bed. Sunday was good, and now we're back here at another day, another week. It's gonna be.
All right. Well, you know what? I'm glad to be here, and this is going to be a great show tonight. Now, let
Mm-hmm.
me take care of some plead the fifth, hilarious. Let me take care of a little business first. One thing is we are on live on three different platforms. We're on Periscope, we are on Get Vocal, but mainly we're on YouTube. And if you want to join in the fun, it's best to go onto YouTube, although I will try to monitor the other platforms. And you can do so by just going into the right side where it says say something. I see Lyric here. I see Dre. I see Crystal. I see, of course, Dedrick is on the panel, as well as Marisol, Jada. I also see Yvette Kendall, who was our guest last week. A big shout out to her. Now, I see a lot more people on, but make sure that we know that you're here. Just say hi, and I will make sure that we will represent with you guys. And also tomorrow, and I see Steph. Hey, Steph.
Hey there.
Also tomorrow night, we have a wonderful show, a special Mars Venus
Whoop,
that
whoop,
me
whoop.
and Shannon is going to be doing. It's at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 Eastern. It's an interview with a sex coach. Her name is her name is I'm having a brain fart. Maisha. Sorry about that. Maisha, and she is awesome. We're going to be asking a lot of questions of her, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So if you guys have questions for a sex coach who is terrific, please make sure that you guys come, and we will relay all questions to her, and we'll talk about an event that she has coming up and the work that she does, because it's very fascinating. And she's been on the show before. She was on our auditory seduction episode, if you guys remember that show a couple of years ago. So really, really cool lady, and I'm so glad that she's going to join us tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 Eastern. So it's a special episode. And I also see Earl Hicks in the chat room as well. So welcome to him. All right, now that we got that business out the way, and I see Micah in the Get Vocal chat too. So let me give him a shout out as well. All right, so now that we got that business out the way, let's introduce our panel. And of course, we're going to start off with the ladies. And the first lady, I'm going to go in order. So the first lady that I want to. You guys heard that? Okay. That was weird. All right. The first lady I want to introduce, I'm gonna start off in order. It's the one and only Q. How are you doing, Q?
Hey y'all, I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
Yes, yes, yes. And you have become a regular on the show. You're one of my favorite guests as well, and you always are very delightful, and definitely not. You're not someone that will be on the show and they'll forget that you were on the show. You will definitely stand out. So you are a standout, and thank you so much for being here, Q.
Yeah, no, for sure. I had to make sure I put my dick sucking lips on, given that we're talking about sex tonight. So I'm hella excited.
As I said, you will not forget this day on the show. All right. So next lady on the show, staying in order, we have the one and only Marisol, and I believe this is your second time being on the show. Because were you on last week or was it the week before? Last week. You were on last
I
week.
believe it's last week. Yes, definitely. Hi,
Yeah.
guys. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm excited to be here with the topic that's going on today.
Yes, and I've become a big fan of you as well. I'm so glad that you are a part of this community and that you're back on the show again.
Thank you.
And this next lady, I've known for quite a while now. Big fan of hers. She does amazing work herself. It's the one and only Jada. And you said this was your first time on. Actually, this is your second time because you were on technically the season premiere on the
Oh, okay.
24 show. So you and your wonderful husband as well. So it's Jada Lopez. How you doing?
What up? What up? Hey, you guys. Thank you for having me.
For being on.
I'm excited to be here.
All right, all right. Now these next two guys, one is making his second time on the show, and the other he's become a regular as well. We'll start off with the one who's kind of newer to the family, the one and only Dedrick. How you doing, Dedrick?
Cooling, cooling. What's going on?
Man, I'm doing great, and I'm glad to have you back on the show.
I
And
appreciate you having me.
forward to getting some of your thoughts on this topic.
Yeah, man, this is going to be a great one.
All right. And the next guy I'm going to introduce to the show, I think Dedrick knows him pretty well. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that.
I believe so, vaguely.
And we know him pretty well too. He is a member of this great community and looking forward to all the things that he has coming up in the future. And I always love to hear his thoughts as well. It's the one and only Anthony, but everybody we refer to him as Free. How you doing?
Peace, peace. What's happening?
All right, man. So I know we have a great panel that Shannon has assembled. So kudos to Shannon for doing this. And tonight's topic is we're going to talk about sex, and we're going to talk about it in a broad sense and a lot of different topics. And this was being that we wanted to do the Maisha interview tonight, but when we couldn't get it for tonight, we only could get it for Tuesday. Me and Shannon thought it'd be a good idea to have our regular panel and we can talk about it and then kind of expand on it tomorrow. So what I want to start off with is you, Shannon. What's the first ground you want to cover, and then we'll just kind of go around.
What did you
Can
say,
you-
Kim?
I said, what's the first ground you want to cover, Shannon?
Oh, it's me first. Okay.
Mhm.
Well, let's start with the lady. Let's start with Jada.
Okay. I'm here for it. What's up?
Oh, Jada, what's your favorite discussion in the regards to sex? Because I know this is like one of your favorite topics. It's something you can talk about all the time in any group of people. What is it specifically that you like to talk about when you're talking about sex?
Everything. I think it's more like what don't I like talking about pertaining to sex.
Okay.
So I like to talk
Don't you
about
like
sex.
talking about?
Yeah, I mean, I like talking about sex positions. I like talking about new places to have sex. I feel like, yeah, like it could go on and on. I mean, I don't know. To narrow it down, I think it's a little difficult for me. So I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I literally could talk about anything about sex. So
Well,
Yeah,
that we do.
if you give me something like where you narrow it down, then I think it would be better for me to direct how I would answer that.
Look like you're thinking about a question.
No, I'm trying. I'm like my brain is working as I'm talking, as I'm speaking. So,
No,
but
Pete raised his eyebrows like he wanted to ask a follow-up.
go ahead.
I think probably a good thing to say is we talk a lot about what we want, what we desire, what we want to try, and all that kind of stuff. What are some things that are taboo to you guys? Because you know, um, it's one thing to what you want to talk about, or what you want to do, but what are some things that are just like out of the question that is not even up for discussion? It's probably a good way.
Oh,
We
that's
all know I'm the oversharer.
Okay.
So there
We
is
here for
nothing
it.
I won't talk about.
Here's for it.
Okay. So is it like a negotiation? Is it like is it a negotiation? Is it like, okay, you do this? If you get with a partner, it's like, all right, I'll try this, but we got to go here. I mean, what's the deal? We go to you, Mars. So
Sorry, Jada, I didn't mean to cut you off before.
no. Go ahead.
There's no negotiations. We discuss what we like. We do it. I try different things. I don't care. It's like, all right, I've never tried that. Let's do it.
Mm.
Mhm. Okay. What about you two? Are you willing to listen to anything?
Wait, who was that directed
From you,
at? Me?
from you, from your partner.
Oh, okay, because it keeps going in and out, and I'm like, wait, hold on. Did he say you or Q?
Cute.
Yeah, no, there's shockingly, I don't want to say there's a lot of things on my never ever list, but I feel like there's a lot of obvious stuff that is shockingly more common. I don't know. Maybe I've been on Tumblr too much. Who knows? But like, I'm not playing with anyone's poop, and no one's playing with my poop, and no one's pissing on me.
Amen.
And we're not doing anything with animals because that's fucking weird too. And if it's illegal, it's a hell no. So, but like, other than that, I can't imagine there's anything that I would necessarily be like, nah.
Okay. All right. Bleach.
But it's like the obvious stuff.
Mhm.
Be like, I honestly don't think I would even. What would you do if you found out a close friend like to get like shit on? Like,
Oh,
If like the homie like that, I would look at him very bizarre.
that would change some things, huh?
Yes, I'd be like, dude, why? Is that judgy?
Yeah.
Nah, it's legit. It's cool. You can think that.
I think that's a kink you can shame at that
Yeah.
point. Because there's stuff that like if you have like some regular mind, you're not gonna do weird shit. So I always feel like that's a loaded question. But I feel like in terms of different kinks, women are a lot more open because when kinks come to men, it's a lot of butt stuff. And even if it's a woman doing it, men automatically think it's gay.
There is a line though. There is I call the gay line, and you know, some people they'll walk that line. Other people they are on the other side of the line, and the other people stay far back from the line. So it just depends on that person. I wonder. I'm not going to tell Jada to talk too much about her personal life, but
No problem.
is there a negotiation thing, or is it the gay line, right? Is there? I mean, is it everything's up for discussion, and or is it just like no? Some things, obviously, the poop or I can't say that's off the table, but is that something that you feel like in the beginning of a relationship where it's going to be a sexual one that you talk about what is up for grabs and not?
Absolutely. I think everything is on the table, especially in the beginning stages of a relationship. Absolutely. Right. Where I feel like you need to find out what your likes and dislikes are when it comes to each other. So for me, like, we're going to talk about everything. Like, you know, I mean, I've pissed on guys before because that was their thing, but I didn't have sex with them. So yeah, it's just like, I think it's really what you're comfortable doing and the things that you're uncomfortable doing. And again, it's all about communication. So yeah, I mean, everything's up for discussion, in my opinion. I don't think there's nothing, in my opinion, I don't think there shouldn't be anything where you don't want to discuss. We're all grown adults. And so it's just like, let's talk about it. Let's have this discussion. What's up?
If
So,
you're
yeah.
old enough,
Just so people won't be alarmed, the guy was on fire when she pissed on him. So she was just trying to put the fire out.
Yeah, I'll just make sure to drink a lot of H2O and then I'll piss on you if you want me to. Dang.
That isn't the most baller shit I've ever fucking heard. I love
Like, I'm just saying, like,
it.
All right, fellas. Now let's start with with you, Anthony. So when in the beginning, when you first get with a girl and you know you're about to have sex, do you just let it happen naturally, or do you have a conversation with the lady on what you know she's into and all of that kind of stuff, or you just find out?
I think it's a lot of conversation. Not even I think. There's a lot of conversation that's had depending on the context in which we meet. But there's definitely some conversation about, lines. Definitely. Hello? Is that?
Yes. Yeah.
So, it's conversations. I try to pick brains to see what has been done and what hasn't been done. And then based on the information that I've received before we actually engage in some level of physical intimacy, then I might try to see how far them lines go, and just pay attention to nonverbal cues.
Okay. What about you, Dad? Are you one of those you just feel it out, or do you have a conversation?
Nah, it's got to be a conversation. I like to ask your likes and dislikes and how far you would go, because otherwise it's just it gets real awkward real quick.
Mm-hmm. Has anybody ever had a situation where they were with someone where they felt like they were free to do whatever, there was a great sexual experience, and then the very next person you would have liked them, but after you were with the last person, it kind of messed it up for the next person? Does that ever happen?
wait, repeat that, please?
So have you ever been with someone that was great sexually, but it didn't work out the relationship, and then the very next person kind of suffered because they weren't on par with the person before?
Oh,
all the time.
absolutely. Yeah, I'm about to say absolutely.
Yeah, and not that they weren't good, it was just they weren't that last person.
Right.
Yes.
So
So
what do you
I had it.
go ahead.
I had an ex that I was hung up on for years, and it didn't matter who he was with or who I was with. The minute he snapped his fingers, I was there because he was the bomb diggity. And so everyone else afterwards, it was subpar.
And he just said, man, it
And
was
I was right there, baja panty like that.
So all right, so anybody else have a similar situation?
I actually have not. I haven't. I can't say that I have. I think everybody exceeded the previous person in some way, shape, or form.
He's
Oh,
like,
nice.
everybody. Oh wow, look at that. Okay. In the chat room, they're like, "Yep, happens all the time."
Wait, so quick question, Cedric.
Yeah, the Thanos step. I knew that was coming.
Like, what made it like was it because of the connection that you had with that individual?
Yeah. Like I have to have some type of connection with somebody if I'm going to be sexual with them. I can't do. I've done it once where I had no type of connection with with the female, and it didn't work out too well. So yeah, there has to be some type of connection between me and the female if we're having some type of sexual encounter.
Mm.
Well, that's a good thing.
All right. No, I mean, what about you, Anthony? Have you ever suffered from that where, you know, this next one is not cutting it compared to the last one?
Not necessarily in a relationship wise. You know what I mean? Like I've unfortunately been I've experienced some bad sex. But as far as I don't know, the comparison's gonna go out the window. Now I will say that there are those that may have a gold star just for certain memories. There is an extra check by their name. Like, yeah, that person was quite all right with me. But as far as it messing up for the next experience, now if you trash, you trash. If you're good, you're good. You know what I mean? So I kind of compartmentalize in that.
Let me ask the guy this question: are there many times where you go back down memory lane, like it may be in some years, and you're like, you know what, Jessica was pretty awesome. Let me go back down there, and it's been like so much time has gone by just because you remembered, great times you had.
Just down my text messages. You pick a name. Ironically enough, her name is. Oh, she's not watching this podcast. But there is a Jessica in my past that our chemistry is almost unmatched, and so at any point in life, if we run into each other, the chemistry between the two of us is just it's evident, and it's like it's always. I don't know if you ever seen the movie Hancock. It's
Mm-hmm.
that Will Smith, and I can't remember the co-actress in there, but
James. Yeah, I know you're talking about.
it's like
Charlize Theron, was it her?
Yeah,
or
it was, mhm.
it's like the energy is always attracting, is ever attracting, but it's not necessarily the best situation to be in. It's like, I don't know how to just be around you. We can't really coexist outside of a space where it's exclusively she and I. But almost every time that we've run across each other, it's never been exclusively her and I. So it's like I really got to stay away from you, and she got to stay away from me type deal, because otherwise it's going down. And so yeah, outside of that, I mean, there's a couple other chemistries where I've made a couple packs in my lifetime. I'm like, hey, I don't care who you get with, I'm gonna need that from you. So, and so, yeah, man, I've kind of traveled down memory, but I've also been hit up with the hey big head, and I know why, because I'm about that action, and I put that work in just so I could, in the future, however many years later, get that. Hey, you remember that time? You remember that time? Yeah.
Oh, Shannon, I love that.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay. All right. So I did what I thought I did. All right, cool. Yeah.
What about you, ladies? I know two of you are in. One is married and one's in a long-term relationship. But have you ever gone back down memory lane, like, you know what, dude was great. Let me come back there, like way after the fact. Is that more?
No,
Is that more of
because
a guy? Is that more of a guy thing?
well, the only reason why I haven't is because literally every dude that I've ever broken up with has been trash. So that's immediately replaced with, oh, remember how he broke your heart? And I'm like, I'm good. So it's like that entire detach of, but finding old porn videos that you haven't like rubbed out to in a while is pretty amazing too. So, because it's like reconnecting with that old video that you once found, and it's emotional.
Wait,
But in terms of finding exes and stuff, or thinking someone that I like once messed around with, and imagine like going back, no.
So that's more of a guy.
No, I don't think it's a guy. I don't think it's more of a guy thing. I think it depends. I think on the situation.
It's a situational thing, because for my situation, it's not really an option.
Oh, well.
because of how rich they are.
Oh, so I
For
think
me,
for
it's
me it was a little different. Like, if it's just a sexual situation, then yeah, if they had some good dick, absolutely. I mean, and normally whatever, I wouldn't necessarily be hitting them up. If anything, whatever, because how they would hit me up. And if it was a good and we had a great connection sexually, then yeah, like why not? Take me out to dinner and then maybe we'll fuck later. Because the dick was that good. Obviously, he thinks that the pussy's that great. So like, let's just make it happen. I mean, for me, it's not necessarily where I have to be in a relationship with you. If it's what it is, and I just want to fuck and I want to get a nut off and I want your dick inside my pussy, then that's different. So we just gonna keep it like that. And so I could appreciate that and I could respect it because it's just honest. So
Yep.
yeah.
Hey man, can we take a moment to salute Jada?
I mean, yes.
I'm just saying.
Yes.
And maybe that's why I'm married now. I mean, I don't know. Like he made sure to take me off the market. So it was just like, yeah.
Hell yeah. Respect. They're saying in the chat room there.
Lots of it.
Okay, now let me ask this question. And I'm gonna start off with the guys because I think it might be more applicable to the guys. Have you guys? What about droughts? Have you guys ever had a drought like where? Well, I mean, there's purposeful droughts. Like somebody in this chat has been on a self-imposed drought, or what do you call it? The C word.
Celibacy.
Yeah, celibacy. And then I can't even look. I can't even say the word. And then there's
don't come for me.
droughts, as in, it's been a minute. Maybe you're being a little more pickier than normal, or whatever. Or maybe you're just not finding what you really want to, so you're just kind of hanging back. Has the guys? We'll start off with you, Dad. Have you ever had like a long drought where either you're just not happy with what you're coming across, or
I pulled a whole year off by accident.
oh, by accident?
Yeah, it wasn't even supposed to happen like that. Because like pretty much like you said, I was being a lot more picky than usual. And then once I realized how long it's been, I was like, nah, all right, we gonna fix this situation. So I ended up messing with a chick I was trying to get in there for a minute. And I won't say I was fully disappointed, but it was not exactly what she put herself out there to be. The overnight type. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it wasn't worth coming out of the drought?
I mean, it got the job done, but
wasn't worth it.
Nah, I mean, it wasn't something that I would purposely be like, yep, gotta hit that again. I mean, we messed around like twice that I can remember.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And that was it. That was pretty much it. Got that out the way. We were back on track.
What about you?
That was your problem. Oh, I'm sorry. Wait.
No, go ahead.
I feel like that was your problem. You should have made sure whoever you were gonna go off the drought for, that pussy was good and well worth it. I'm just saying, FYI. That was on you, to be honest.
All right. Yeah.
You gotta eat that one.
I'm gonna save that one. But nah, I mean, yeah, you're right. That was my L. I got that one.
No.
I just came off a 2.5 year self-imposed drought, if you want to call it that, and celibacy, and it was definitely worth it. And I'm kind of happy. I was telling Shannon earlier, I was kind of happy with the effects of coming out of that. But you have to make it worth it. It's got to be worth it if you're going to do it after not doing it so long.
Because you're just nasty.
What about you, Anthony? Have you ever had a bout with celibacy or drought or anything like that?
I wouldn't call it celibacy. I will say that I had probably about 3 to 4 droughts. One inadvertent, the other 3 kind of self-inflicted or self-imposed. The first one was not unlike my brother over here, Sack Rose Unite. It was on accident. I was moving from town to town or whatever the case was. So I relocated from one state to the next. And once I started to get acclimated to the city and everything, I think I had a conversation 11.5 months had gone by before I'd realized it. and somebody asked me, like, we were having a conversation, and it came up the last time you had sex or whatever. And these were my younger days, so I was thinking out immediately, I'm going to say, oh, it was just the, and I thought about it, and I'm like, yo, it's been about a year. And immediately, the succubus demon came upon my flesh. And, but the person that I ended up having sex with was a mistake, only because, not because it wasn't good, it was just because I didn't realize my value within this particular town. And so, less than, I say what? Well, yes, it was in Lewisburg. So less than 12 hours later, around this small town, apparently that I'd gotten her pregnant, and I was like, "That's impossible. It takes at least 48 hours for the sperm to reach the egg. How you get your pregnant?" And it ain't even been 12 hours yet, and you picking out godparents, but that's a whole other story. So that was that, and although the sex was actually, decent, it did the job. The outcome or the fallout from it, because it costed me somebody who I was actually after. I was after somebody for about 3 months, and just as I was given the green light, this whole incident happened, and the young lady, retracted her invitation, and I was sorely disappointed. But
Disappointed.
I was made to seem like I was going to be a deadbeat father. Oh, you're not going. I heard you ain't going to take care of your baby, or you got so and so pregnant, you're not taking care of it. So I think I'm good. I'm like, oh no, I put in so much work. But the other ones later on in life, like even on now, it's kind of self-imposed, self-inflicted. Is because of a couple things. Me actualizing my value, my worth. For a while I was on a mission to knock pussy off the pedestal, and I had to rearrange that and just really instill worth in myself. Because I'm like, man, why is your pussy worth more than my dick? I don't understand. Like, you fuck like I would. So I should don't devalue me or think that you will manipulate me with pussy power and all the other type of stuff. I'm like, well, we got with a mutually beneficial arrangement. I provide for you, you provide for me, and we good. So, but I had to become I became a lot more selective, a lot more kind of picky, because I'm like, man, every chick out here don't deserve my dick, so you ain't gonna get it. You know what I mean? And I turned down more than my homeboys would like me to have. And yeah, it's kind of like I'm so close to attaining some more goals. I've been on such a good path. I'm almost 36, and I haven't had like one pregnancy scare, so I've been pretty cautious and just careful about my approach, as to not be like our father who are in Lewisburg. And yeah, so that was important. The drought was important. The self-imposed drought was important.
That pullout game was strong.
My discount is perfected. I perfected my discount.
A1.
But yeah, man, it was important for me to do that, because also it's scary out here, man. Like, I ain't trying to contract nothing, and I don't want to be stuck with a baby mama that I want to see for the rest of my life. So those things are important to me.
That's right. Now, there's a reason why I brought up this question of celibacy, because I wanted Shannon to feel a part of this discussion, and so I purposely brought it up, and also going through a drought as well. So 'cause it's important that Shannon is not sitting there in the sidelines, not participating. And my question is very important, and we're going to get back to the act of sex, but I think it's very important for Shannon, being our expert in celibacy, that if someone's choosing this path, maybe they feel like maybe they feel like there's something they need to do to realign their chakras or whatever. I don't know. How do you suggest someone gets through this? Because it's trying, right? Because it's hard. Once you've experienced it, it's hard to not to do it. So what do you do, Shannon, when to get through some celibacy times? I mean, is it not talking about it? Is that the way to do it? Don't watch anything don't watch any dirty movies. How do you get through it?
A day at a time. Movies don't really do it for me, so that's not my struggle. kissing does it for me. So I kind of keep the contact to a minimum.
Oh, you said no kissing? No kissing?
I said I keep contact to a minimum.
Oh, okay.
It's like a gateway drug. If we kiss, I'm getting drawn.
Mm-hmm.
So I tend to mind my business and my manners.
So that's all you got for us? That's how you get through it?
I mean, this is my third time. So third time's a charm, I suppose. That's what I'm going to tell myself. This isn't the longest time I've gone. So just
what are your reasons, if you don't mind me asking?
The first time I did it, the short of it, I had just gotten out of not a bad breakup, but it was a necessary breakup. And I was just like, yeah, let's figure some things out. The second time, I had just had a huge surgery. And this last time, just because, why not? I mean, no prospect. It's the right thing to do for me. I'm hoping some things to come to pass in my life, and I just need it to happen.
Okay. So. All right, and I honor and salute you. I mean, that's amazing. You should write a book about your experience when it ends. When it ends, you should do a retrospective of of that period of time. But
and the infamous question that wasn't asked,
mm-hmm.
That does include no self-pleasure. So
what?
Oh.
So no masturbation?
No.
So clearly that upset everybody.
No, I mean, I'm here for it. Like, I'm here for it, but
what she's saying is more power to you.
Yeah.
Being with that.
I have self-discipline in a lot of areas in my life, and I've done a lot of different things. But for me, I need that release. Even if it's myself, I need to masturbate, and just that tension. Like, there's something that's built up inside me that I need to be able to just let it all out. Literally.
Well, I was a late bloomer in that regard, Jada.
Oh, okay.
And I could take it or leave it, to be honest. I'd rather somebody else do it than me. I just want to sit back, relax, let somebody else do all the work.
I give you that props, Shannon.
Yeah, big props. It's not.
I don't do it for props.
Yeah, kudos to you, Shannon. Okay, so another aspect that we got to talk about is when someone's not up to. Yeah, right. Everyone's left the conversation. Hilarious. When someone is not up to snuff, how do you communicate that with them? And I want to start off with the ladies, and then I want to get to the fellas, because we don't really talk often about when guys feel that way as well. But we'll start off with you, Jada. If someone's not up to snuff, but you like them and you think that they have potential, how do you communicate that with them when you want a better performance? Block them. Hilarious.
So it depends. I think for me, my sexual relationships are so different. So yeah, my relationships are so different, depending sexually. So if I'm like dating someone and the sex is kind of mediocre, then that's something that we definitely discuss. But for the most part, I remember there's this one guy that I was dating not too long ago, when I was single, right before actually I had gotten married. We were dating, and it just was whack. It was whack. But the closer that we got, it ended up getting better within time, right? So when I told him, he definitely improved on certain things. But then again, it was a connection. Now, if he was just somebody that I was fucking with, I wouldn't have cared, to be honest, because then I wouldn't have just fucked him again. Like, if it was whack, because again, there was just like a it would have been just a sexual thing, not versus a connection and someone I'm really trying to get to know. So I think for me, there's a difference. Like if it's somebody that I'm just fucking with and going out every now and then and we fuck, then I'm not gonna fuck you again because if it's whack. But if it's somebody that I'm trying to we're forming and we're building something and we're having sex, then that's something easy. I think that's normally, and the sex wouldn't really be whack because of the connection that we have. So I think there's two different areas for me anyway, well, was.
Okay. What about you, Marcel?
So
If Mhm.
I've had the kind of connection with a guy and the sex was whack. And I've actually taken the approach to be like, hey, hon, this is how you do it. And showed him what I like best. In the end, it has worked out for me. And it actually helped build what I had going with him. But I've also had, like Jada said, that where it's whacked and it was just nothing. And it was just like, all right, yeah, sure, I'll call you next week. And then never called him back. Just happened.
Okay.
Sorry, I have to cut off.
No, that's all good. What about you, fellas? Dad, we'll start with you. Have you ever had to, pull out the telestrator and say, go over their performance and, this is how you get better? Or like, what do you do?
Yeah, I hit the bricks because I do have this one experience. That was the one I had no connection with. She was always talking about, it was always overhyped. I don't know why I don't learn my lesson, but she's always talking about like how she make this guy do this or this guy can't do that, blah, 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 yada, yada. I was like, oh, okay, that's what's up. And then one day I just took the bait. I was like, all right, cool. So set something up. So we linked up or whatever. And I still to this day have no idea what her name is. Like I've seen people comment on her stuff saying different names. No idea what her name is. I didn't even have her name saved in my phone.
Oh, shit.
But so we linked up or whatever and everything got situated and she just legit just laid there. There was no sound or no nothing. She just laid there. And I'm like, all right, cool. But I'm gonna take another whack at it and see if this is like maybe she nervous or something. So so we had a second round and it was the same. And I'm like, nah, dude, we can't, that's okay. And I haven't talked to her to this day. Like she'll every now and then she'll hit me up, hey, how you doing? I'm cool. Keep scrolling.
Damn.
Yeah. So yeah. I don't instruct anything. We grown here, and you either know what you're doing or you don't. That's how I feel about it.
Cedric, you don't think that you can instruct them and show them how to do what they need to be done?
Yeah, I mean that's probably the generous approach too. But at that time, I had no type of care whatsoever. I think I would do that if I was in a relationship with them. But if it's somebody that I'm just messing with, then they really don't. I don't. For what? That's how I feel.
What about you, Anthony? Have you ever had to instruct, pull out the telestrator?
I have had to instruct a couple times, and for the most part, I don't mind it. But there are times when I do mind. But I also, again, have taken pages out of my mentor's book. Shout out to Western Pipes. We're telling you exactly, what it is that I want, or don't want to happen. You know what I mean? Or maybe the rhythm is I want a different type of rhythm. Nah, there's some music playing. No, bob your head to the beat. See the bass line? Yeah, do it to the bass line. You know what I mean? Something to that degree. You know what I mean? Or just certain lines I've taken. Just hey man, don't been all the way over. Stop being all headed. Don't cheating out there, pussy. Some certain little motivational tips like that that I don't mind giving.
Put that arch in your back.
Right, put that arch. Nah, stop playing. You know what I mean? Pop them real quick. All the way down. Don't cheat me out there, pussy. So, and then I've also had to give tips because there are those who are overly confident. While I appreciate confidence, there's a point where there's an excessive amount of confidence and actions just don't quite match. It's not equitable. So Especially, let's say we're just talking about me, I'm getting some head, and they don't want to. Oh no, move your hands. I got this. No, bitch, you know, because I don't know what the fuck you doing. I'm like, let me help you out because you're focused on theatrics, and I want the actual sensation. Like all of this stuff is you got to combine the two, and then it makes for a good oral sex session. And again, us in the adverse, I don't mind instruction. Or hey, a little to the left, a little to hey, tell me I'm a slave in that moment. Tell me what to do. You know what I mean? So we can get you there. I mean, I come with a particular set of skills, but you know, they may not be required for this particular job. And I don't take offense to that. So you know, I hope that none of the previous partners that I've had have taken offense, and I think they've taken it pretty well. And we've had, you know, some successful encounters, but then there's some just sex is just trash. You just whack. I don't know what you think. You fine, but you suck. No pun intended.
You know, what I love about Anthony is, I swear, when we do these talks, these conversations, it's almost like you're in my head because I get the best transitions from Anthony because it really transitions perfectly to the next thing I was going to get to. It was almost like we were on the same wavelength or something. But the next thing is setting the mood. Now, there's a lot of ways you hear, you know, candles, roses, music, whatnot. Um, I really I want the panel to talk about some ways that they've set the mood that was very successful, some ways that others have tried to set the mood that was or was not successful as well, in the kind of music and kind of ambiance you like for a real intimate thing. So, the ladies, you want to start off with this? Maybe Jada.
Oh wait, hold on. Am I on mute still or no?
No, you good.
Okay. You said how we were able to like start the mood, like set the mood, and how some people where it didn't really work, and it did.
Yeah, both. You know, whether it's rose petals or music or, you know.
Well, I remember I had really liked a guy, and we were dating, and I knew he had a particular fetish, and he had a foot fetish, and so I knew that his previous relationships, it wasn't really catered to. So what I did was, one weekend when I was at his house, I had set the whole room up, the bedroom, with a whole bunch of like real rose petals, and had music playing. I had like sexy slow jams. I had the wine, and I remember he I forgot where he went, that I was alone for a while, and I think he went to go get food or something like that, and I had sexy lingerie, and I had also oils to make sure that I just knew when he got there that I was just going to give him a foot job, and he had never experienced it, so for me that was a way for me to show him that I was connecting with him on a different level because he's never had that before. And it was successful. Like he enjoyed it and everybody came and we were in happy sexual bliss in that moment. So that panned out for me. But as far as like other guys and stuff like that, I don't think there was a time that someone has set the mood and it didn't go well. Not that I can remember anyway. I mean, that means that if I don't remember it, that means that it's forgettable and I shouldn't want to remember it anyway. But for the most part, whatever, anytime that someone's ever put the effort in, it's gone well because then I think for me, the way I look at it, it's like a connection where you're trying to please me in a different way, not only just like create the ambiance, but I think you're just trying to get to me on a sexual and mental level as well, because it's like you're speaking to me in another language than just without our bodies. You know what I mean? If you're setting the mood for me and you fed me or something like that, like while, like right before, or whether it was strawberries or chocolate, whatever, or licking things off of me, for me, it's like you're setting that mood. So you're thinking more than just my body. So I could appreciate that.
Okay. All right. What about you, Marisol? Can you think of some ways that some guys have set the mood that was amazing, maybe not so amazing, and yourself, anything that you've done?
So some things that have worked has always been the right type of music. The guy that I'm currently seeing, he is not Spanish, but he enjoys Spanish music. So some nice reggaeton pumping in the background always gets a nice rhythm going. Just saying. I've had a guy who does like a Spanish guy who does like music put the same song on over and over and over and over. So yeah, that actually did not work out because after a while it was like, can you just shut the fucking radio off because it's getting on my last goddamn nerve. Some things I've done, including lingerie, that's basically like the biggest part. Lingerie, toys. I enjoy bringing toys into my bed, and I make sure he enjoys it. I don't think I've done anything yet that hasn't pleased my partner. So, yeah.
Oh, look at this. She said, I'm undefeated.
I don't think. Now, I haven't heard any complaints.
She's like, I'm batting
Just saying.
1,000. Okay, that's what's up. All right, fellas. We're gonna start off with you, Anthony. Any awesome ways that you've done, or maybe a lady has done. You come home or whatever, and she's done some cool shit. Oh, you're on mute, by the way.
Both of y'all.
Yeah.
That sounds nice. Good.
Wait a minute. Yeah, your mic is a little low.
It's low. Is it hello? Check 1, 2, 2.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Get all in the mic.
So I have to confess that I don't think I've ever had. I can't recall the time that I've ever had a woman set the mood for me. And I'm a little sad about it because I'm just going through listen to all these wonderful stories from these ladies. And I'm just like, shit, I've never had this shit. Yeah, I feel like I've been cheated in my lifetime. Otherwise, for myself, it kind of depends on, again, the tone of mood before we actually enter the bedroom. I've definitely done, some of those things that have been mentioned, such as even out here in the chat, Steph was saying that a really poured a wine cooler on. I've done the whole champagne, and I'm gonna get drunk off of champagne in your body type deal. And other things, cherries and cherry stems and all of those visual stimulants and massages, because I did go to school for massage therapy, so very deep sensual massage with the right oils and just kind of relaxing your muscles, and it opens you up a little bit more, no pun intended, to just receive the energy that I have to get on top of music. The playlist is one of the things that I feel like I've mastered from my younger days. The playlist has to be immaculate, whether it's 90s R&B, or sometimes if you want to be ratchet, you want to smash the BMX. Sometimes it's like that, and so lighting, as you probably can tell, I like particular mood lighting, and I wanted to probably dim or sometimes candlelight, because then the candlelight you get the candle wax to set the mood, just kind of do things like simple decoration and all these different types of things. So the mood is definitely important for me, but I'm just saddened by the fact that I can't recall one instance where the mood was set for me. I'm gonna have to put that on my list of things that I've had.
Okay. Well, what about you, Dad?
So yeah, I've actually had someone set the mood for me. Sorry, my G. Actually two females. The first one, she wasn't my girlfriend yet, but we were working towards that. She actually played music. I don't even know if that was on purpose, but it was definitely utilized. The one female who was my girlfriend, we were on a beach trip with her sister and her sister's boyfriend. Had a condo, had her own room and everything. Excuse me. So she just kept telling me to get out the room. Like, bro, for what? We just got here. I want to lay down. I've been doing all the driving or whatever. Just kept telling me to get out. So I got out the room. It took her a good 15, 20 minutes or whatever. I came back. When she told me I could come back, she had the lights off, candles lit, and wearing this like French maid outfit. I was like, oh, okay, better get this work. And things happen. And her period was on the next day. But yeah, it was dope. It was dope. I enjoyed that.
Okay. Now, what are some mood killers? Because some guys are young, they really don't know much. The only thing they've ever seen is what's in the porno. So they don't really know, they don't really have the information. So ladies, help the guys out. What are some don'ts that would kill the mood? Whether it's I'm gonna let the ladies just say what are some mood killers that guys should know that would totally turn the woman off?
Repeat the question.
Smelly feet.
Huh?
Smelly feet.
Smelly feet?
You take off your shoes to get in my bed and your feet smell.
We got big problems.
Okay, smelly
Stinky
feet.
breath,
Stinky breath. Okay. All right.
like halitosis, bad breath, bad breath.
Uh-huh.
Well, if I'm
Streaks
smelling
on
your
your
breath
balls.
and stuff like that, like if I'm smelling your breath, we're not even getting anywhere. You're not getting anywhere near my face or my pussy. Like, let's be honest. Like, we're not even, you're not coming to my house. Like, first, there's certain things that's just a no-go. It's just not happening.
Do you
Can you
want
say
the,
it again
do
for
you want
the
the
crazy people in the back?
Oh, it's just not happening.
do you do you want the guy completely naked, or what if he keeps his socks on, or he leaves his baseball cap on, a la Mr. Marcus?
Long as his dick is out and his tongue game is strong, and what do I care if he keeps his socks on? What do I care? Like, you could keep your sock on. You could keep your Timbs on while you're fucking me. Like, what's up, NYC? That's a New York type of dude. Like, you know what I mean? Keep your Timbs
Yes.
on. Like, what's up? Like,
Keep your Timbs in your hat. We good.
facts. Timbs in your fitted.
Hey, listen, I love you man, so much.
But okay, so in actuality, like if I'm just fucking you, then that's different. But like if we do have a connection, of course I want you naked. But if you're not, that's fun too, though. Like, you know what I mean? It's okay. We don't always have to, like, sometimes like we're out and about and I want to get it in. You could just slide my panty, or if I do have panties on, slide it to the side. Just put it in. Let's get it in where we could fit in. Like, come on. Like, why do we have to be so like robotic, so old fashioned? We got to be naked in the bedroom. That shit is what it's not whack. I like it, but you could always be spontaneous as well. Like, it's okay. You don't have to be so like break up the monotony. Like, break it up. Like, you don't have to do the same old routine. You know, be spontaneous. I'm just saying. FYI. Like, come on now.
Mm-hmm.
It brings some spice and just to throw
Exactly.
something different in there every once in a while.
Okay, fellas, what about y'all? What is something that would be a turnoff to you, or what do you want, or what do you want to see a woman? Do you want to see her completely naked? Do you want to see her with some lingerie? What's the deal?
And if her boyfriend keep calling, that is a turn off.
Huge turn off. Yeah.
The boyfriend, yeah, I would think.
Oh, I'll tell you some real life situation. The time that I was, about to go out to eat, because that's one of my favorite things to do, and there's a little string hanging out. And I'm just like, oh, well, wait a minute. What's that? And she tried to give me some line. Oh, I was just so wet thinking about you. I had to put it. Oh, no, you ain't getting, I ain't getting nothing. Because you out here trying to sell me hopes and dreams. What is this? I don't know. You ain't running them red lights. Oh, no. That's a clip you can have me roll off of. It depends as far as the completely naked or completely nude. It depends. I like the whole, you gotta take your panties off and put them to the side. Or shout out to 50 Cent. Or I like the whole, you get up under this, especially maxi dresses, sundresses, with this little skirt on. I'm trying to get at you. I want to get up under that. You gotta take nothing off because then when you sign up, you go ahead and into that business and then be about it. But I also like certain things like uh, fishnet stuff, like a fishnet bodysuit in the crib. You know what I mean? Like that type. Just be a very gorgeous. All types of sluttiness. I wear crotchless panties. Just some of the most tasteless stuff. But then also I like some of the of the satin and sheer and sometimes a little furry, whatever. Ruffled, I don't know what you call it. And then sometimes just butt naked because you don't want to get all of them and stuff. So I like a variety.
Mm. All right, Dad. Same.
Yeah, I'm not really too choosy, to be completely honest with you. It's as long as we got to work, we got to work.
Okay. All right.
Although I will say, my fault, I will say something that does turn me off is bad odors, like y'all said, of course. And I'm definitely hate, excuse me, conceit. I'm not a huge fan of a conceited female. There's a difference between confident and being confident and being conceited. Conceited is not something I'm too.
Where's the line drawn?
I wasn't ready for that question.
Ah.
God damn it. All right, cool. All right. I don't know. I really don't.
But you said there's a difference, so I want to know because I agree with you. Yeah. But where do you draw that line as far as thinking a woman is, conceited versus being self-confident?
Okay. So there is a huge difference in knowing and loving you as a beautiful female, and they're having the other side of, I know for a fact I can have you or have any man that I want. And then I say that and I completely contradicted myself in my head because I was about to say something. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I can just feel it. It's a vibe. There we go. It's a totally different vibe between the two for me. Mm-hmm. I guess there's a different type of attitude between the conceited woman and the confident woman. Yeah. One is way more negative than the other.
Mm-hmm. I guess one is like, my shit don't stink. The other is awareness. I think confidence comes in the level of I'm self-aware. So I know these things about me. I know that I'm attractive. I know that all of my good qualities or even the bad qualities, I'm aware of them. So for me, that's what confidence is.
Oh, I like that.
But when you become conceited, it's as if there's a level of entitlement that comes along with that. There's a level of delusion that also comes along with that. And it's not necessarily a warped reality. I won't say that it's not in a reality. Whatever reality that person is in, it's like skewed. And a lot of times it's a turn off. It's off-putting.
No, that's good. I like that. That makes sense, though.
Now, one thing that's been brought up during the show, but we haven't explored it, is hardware. And I believe it was Marisol who brought it up. So is anybody opposed to bringing hardware into the bedroom? Toys, whatever, or whatnot. Opposed to it, yeah.
Oh, no. Bring them all. Bring them all.
Okay. So like, what are so Marisol, you seem like you might have been an expert in this field. Hardware ? Damn. So what are some hardware that you may find in a Marisol session?
If you open my lovely trusty drawer, you will find all sorts of beautiful things like nipple clamps. I had a whip, though it's gone missing. A nice soft leather one. I have vibrators. There's lube. There's a strap-on. Regular plain dildos.
Why is this?
We're not just gonna blow past that. You gotta
work for me.
Let's take a step back, just a moment. Let's get off this exit. The strap on, please.
Okay, so Anyone who knows me knows I do not care. I am demisexual with biromantic tendencies, and yes,
Oh,
I have been with women before. And sometimes, you need to do what you need to do in order to please your partner, and it just is what it is. I've also been with gentlemen who like to be on the receiving end of that, and it is what it is.
So you're a
oh,
pegger.
you pegging? Yeah.
Yes,
How is that? If you don't mind me asking,
I
because I haven't done it
definitely
yet, so or
enjoyed it.
can't. Yeah.
Definitely enjoyed it.
Okay. Well, see, I've had strap-ons with women, right? But as far as a man, I mean, I've never had a guy ask me that. So, I mean, I'm married now, so I can't even go there. But I've been curious about it, like how would it be? But then a part of me, then I'm like, no. But again, because I've had so much fun with females, like, giving them the business. So I remember just kind of being curious, like, how would that be? But again, it was just only a thought. So I've never done it, but I've always been curious about it. So it's like, it's interesting to like, have a conversation with somebody who has done it. Oh,
I've
all
actually had like 4 partners
right. Okay,
who have been like,
Marisol.
give it to me. And I'm like, all right, puppy, here you go, toma.
Let me find out, Marisol. Look, I'm finding a lot about it. I'm like, okay, be free and open with it. Yes, I'm here.
That's my friend. That's
Yeah.
my friend.
Ew, like,
Has
I don't
any,
mind sex.
Pardon my
I
interruption.
don't care
Please.
who is it with.
has any guy, whether you're in the chat room or I'm not gonna ask you if you've been pegged, but has a girl ever brought that up to you? We'll say that you don't have to give the answer. If you're a guy in the chat room who's had a girl ask them to peg them, and if you don't know what pegging is, Google it. Press 1 in the chat. Any guy has a woman ever just brought that up to you?
Negatory, not on this end.
Oh, 2 if it's a no.
Harrison Tamlog says no.
2 if it's a no. 2 if it's a no. The woman's never.
I already said two.
Yeah, no, as far as it being done to me or as an offering, no, it hasn't been nothing like that. But I do have a very good friend that I've known since high school that is, she actually informed me about that whole world of pegging because she has clients. She is a working matrix, and it's a lot of things that she exposed me to. We got a conversation about her first pegging experience, who her clientele is, and but as far as it being in regard to me, that's going to be the first round.
Would you guys be offended by the mere bringing up of it?
I feel like, well, one, I live in Atlanta, so I think that could be one of two things. She could really be interested in doing something like that, or two, she's trying to see if somebody's down low or whatever the case is. So I'm not going to be offended. I mean, it's a question. Are you curious? Close my move fade. If you don't know, ask questions. There's no such thing as stupid questions to me. But no, I mean, I'll be like, nah, that's not what I'm at with it. That's something you want to do. I'm able to fulfill your fantasies or your desires. But yeah, I can't see me getting offended really by any question. Unless you actually know me, we've known each other for some time, and you ask me something that I feel like you should already know the answer to.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't be offended. I'd probably look at you like, what the fuck? But outside of that, nah, no offense taken.
Okay. All right. So what for fellas? Any hardware that you would bring to the bedroom, or you've experienced?
Hardware, like I don't mind. I mean, I've bought hardware for partners, so I've gone to the store and gotten those vibrators or so handcuffs. I used to have fake ones, now I've got some real. I got handcuffs and leg shackles and transport chains and things of that nature. I had zip ties and satin scarves and ropes and all that, of course, lube and condoms and just a myriad of things that I've come across and used. One rule of thumb, though, as far as dildos, it just can't be larger than I am. I don't really have an easily bruised ego, but I'm just like, I'm not going to follow up behind a mandingo. I just don't see what I can do for you practically behind 13 to 15 inches. I just don't know what do you, it's almost like doing a hot dog in the hallway, in my opinion. I may be completely wrong, but just psychologically, it's not really very welcoming. So, other than that, man, I don't really have any issues. But as far as one thing I probably would like to try, but I haven't tried, is a cop ring. I'm curious. Um, I mean, I understand the concept and what it's supposed to do, but I've never tried that. And then they got operating cop ring. I rather have like nipple clamps and other type of stuff. Like probably talk about candle wax and
What?
flavored. What?
what, Shannon? Oh, I think she just.
I was just
Yeah.
Oh, you talking about like the nipple clamps? Was that the point? I'm like that, and
I was like, that's the only thing I heard. I was like, what?
Oh yeah, the candle wax and different flavors, and there's some. You just got to do your research and stuff because there are things that people's bodies don't agree with. You got to have things that don't have sugar in it. So whipped cream is nice, but everybody's body doesn't really handle whipped cream or the contents within very well. So it's just like so much different shit. Oh, even the KY his and hers. I've done that before. That was an interesting experience. It's like one is warming and the other one's cooling. And
I have definitely wanted to try that.
It was pretty interesting. Trying different ribs and studded condoms and what I'm saying, and tuxedo and all that other shit like that. So, yeah, man, I'm kind of open, to a lot of different stuff.
Has anybody on this panel? I imagine we'll probably get a lot of yeses, but has anybody in this panel been to a adult store, a bookstore or a toy store, with a partner?
Oh yeah.
Frequent flyer.
Oh, absolutely.
Frequent flyer.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Wait, Shannon, you been?
I've been, but not with a partner.
Oh, okay. Did you? Were you?
Are you open to it though, Sharon? Shannon?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You said yeah?
You don't see the smile on her face?
Okay, good.
Look, toys are my playground.
Okay.
We did say she was wholesome adjacent. That's the adjacent.
The adjacent.
That's true.
So, Martha, you said you've been quite a bit, huh?
Yeah, so my children's father, we used to love going there. So we go there frequently. We pick up new toys. We discuss other things. It was what it was. It's the greatest place ever. And so I'm very open with sex. It doesn't matter who I'm with. It doesn't matter who I'm talking to. I overshare quite a lot about sex. And so it was the easiest thing in the world to be at the sex shop talking about, okay, I like that. Oh, that looks interesting. I'd like to try that. Let's pick this up. Let's watch this video. Let's buy this tape. Things like that,
Right, yeah. Okay, and Jada, I imagine you've been too, huh? Oh, you're on mute, Jada.
Yeah, hello. I'm sorry. I wanted to piggyback off of something that Marisol said. She said she's really open about talking about sex, and I think that's a beautiful thing. I think the more discussions we have about and around sex, it makes it less taboo, right? I think the more, and so I'm glad that we're having this conversation. I'm appreciative of it. I think more people need to have conversations because they don't look at it where it's like, oh my gosh, you do that? And they just kind of like scoff at it and just raise their noses. I think the more comfortable people get with talking about sex, the more open-minded they'll be, the more comfortable they'll be. So I'm just appreciative of this conversation that we're having, this adult conversation that we're having. I appreciate it. I just wanted to point that out.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That was the whole purpose of the show, was to have adult conversations about adult things. And just to let people know too, please, if you're on the YouTube page, to make sure you hit thumbs up on this video. and drop a comment when this show is over as well. But anyway, thank you so much for that. Um,
Ada.
so one thing that I think that we also don't talk a lot about when it comes to the topic of sex is how do we first um, get our information about sex, right? If you're fortunate, maybe you got it, your dad, you know, or maybe not. Your dad gave you the talk or whatever. But a lot of us guys, what we learn from either just experiences, we learned it from the homies in the street, or that uncle who probably shouldn't have been talking to us about it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just curious, and we'll go down the panel. We'll start off with you, Shannon. Um, like, what was the first kind of talk you had with somebody about sex, or would you first start getting your information from?
Shout out to Gloria Ford, my mommy.
Oh,
That's the first person who taught me about sex. She sat me and my sisters down, kind of like the birds and the bees and human growth and development, all in one conversation. It was embarrassing, but it was informative. I will give her that. She knew what she was talking about. And then there came the friends. Friends will tell you everything you don't want to know and do want to know.
okay. So
I had a couple.
mom, and then friends. What about you, Deb?
It was definitely television first. From television, the scrambled channels and whatnot, or you find your channels and then you have the recall button on hand. Then from there, it was friends. Never really family. Definitely not my father. Um, and then from there, it's like pretty much trial and error.
Trial and error.
Yeah.
And I'm saving Marisol last for a specific reason. Jada, what about you? What was the first person that maybe an older person or someone your age that kind of started hipping you to the sex?
So fortunately for me, it was my mom and my dad. They sat me down because of the way my body was shaped at such an early age. They had conversations, they had real conversations with me from early, both of them. Like, my parents are still married, so they both sat me down together and had a lot of conversations, especially my dad told me a lot about how men think and certain things and how they would come. And I think that's why my perspective and the way and my outlook on sex and just, I think sexuality is very different from most other women my age or just women in general. I think I look at it differently because of the way they kind of just brought me up on it and being so open and candid with talking about sex. They didn't kind of just like, oh, especially my mom as well, though. Like my dad had one-on-one conversations and my mom had one-on-one conversations with me, and they had conversations collectively. So where they didn't want to allow me to get misinformation or be misguided from outside influences. I think that's why, again, having comfortable conversations about sex, I think is important and it's healthy. They made it open for me to talk to them and for them to talk to me about it. So it was them.
Okay. What about you, Anthony?
Mine was not to bring the spirits down, but mine was through molestation. That was the introduction to sex. And then from molestation it was porn, and then from porn it was friends and my trial and error. Like I told you guys, the first time giving and receiving oral sex, I was 7. So I think by the time my mom actually started having a conversation with me, I was already fucking. That was the way that my introduction into that whole realm and world, which likely explains the reason I think the way that I do, why I'm so, I guess, open-minded to at least have the conversation about just the area and listen to the other things that I'm exposed to in life. So,
Marisol, I'll get to why I saved you for last. But what was the first time that someone talked to you about sex?
So much like Freeze experience, I was sexually abused as a child. And I remembered, and I remembered so much that my mother actually had to have a talk with me, because at the age of 6, I was actually caught doing things with other 6-year-olds in um, my house with my mother's friends' children. And so we had to like sit down and have that conversation about what sex is, what it means, when it's supposed to be done, and things like that. So after that, I was able to relax until about the age of 16, when my hormones kicked in. And then it was like, my boyfriend at the time was like, "Hey, hon," and he was 21 to my 16. And we just, my mom was like, "Listen, let's sit down now. Let's have the adult conversation about where sex comes into play." And I thank God for my mom, because without her, I don't know where I'd be. It could have gone very wrong very quickly. And instead, um, she guided me into the right path. Make sure you're always protected, make sure you always have, you're always safe, you feel good about it, things like that. So
No, now, reason why I said you for last, I believe you're the only parent on the panel, right?
I am a parent, yes.
And so I don't know if you've had that opportunity to have that conversation. Is that something as a parent you've thought about, that at what point that you're going to have that conversation?
Oh, I've had that conversation. So my oldest are 17,
Oh,
and
okay.
so I've had this conversation with them since about, my son, actually, I had to have the conversation with him when he was 7, because he came to me talking about, "Mom, my penis hurt." So I had to get into why his penis hurt. And if you keep jerking it like that, it's gonna hurt. He was also big, he still is, into porn. So I had to tell him, that's objectified. Women aren't treated like that. That's not how you want to treat your woman when you go to have sex with her. That's just something for viewing pleasure. It's not something that actually happens in the bedroom for real. Um, my daughter, on the other hand, because I have a set of boy-girl twins. My daughter, on the other hand, we just had the normal conversation, like, this is your body and this is what you're gonna feel. And my mom actually sat down to have that conversation with her, because she was a lot closer to my mother than she was to me, for reasons that I won't get into. It's not for this show, but at another time we can delve into that. So my mom actually sat down with her, this is how you're gonna feel, this is how you're gonna handle that, and things like that. So and I thank God they're 17, and to this day they haven't had the want or the desire to do something of that nature yet.
It's interesting. Like, I don't have any kids, but I have nieces and nephews and stuff. And I've had situations where they've come to me, right, as an uncle, for advice or questions or something that maybe they haven't even asked their parents yet. And it's a great responsibility, to do that. And for those, because no one else has children, right, on this panel, but you guys probably are uncles or aunts or whatever. And it's just real interesting knowing what you guys know about your life experience and whatnot. Have you guys ever thought about, or had it maybe with a nephew or niece, have had to have those conversations with younger people? And have you thought about, if you had children, things that you would say? I know it's a little different when you're a parent, but have you guys thought about that?
I've had the conversation with my niece and nephew. I think it's important. At a younger age, things were done to me that shouldn't have been. So we started there in that conversation. Boundaries, healthy touch, safe touch versus unsafe touch versus unhealthy touch. Um, not being afraid to speak out against those things when they happen. And knowing that there's a safe person to talk to if it does and it's not their fault. Um, and then to be able to talk to people when they are in that age where they're hormonal and they want to experiment, or they hear their friends talking about it and they want to do something about it, or they want to find out if what little Sally said was true. Being able to have those conversations. I can't tell you what they're saying now to my sister, but Yeah, we've had those conversations. I don't want any kid to not feel like they have a safe space to talk about those things.
I tell you, it's easy. It was easier for me to talk to my nephews than my niece about that. uh, because it is what it is. But like I said, I think it's important to be there for both. Fellas, have you guys ever had to? Maybe it's not even someone related to you. Maybe a kid in the neighborhood that may look up to you or something like that. Have you guys ever mentored somebody and with information?
I'm into a grown man.
Mm.
um, guys that maybe about 10 years younger than me, 10 or less, and just seem to be living up to the stereotype about men being stupid. And I like to try to eliminate those stereotypes as much as possible. Yeah, I mean, I've kind of coached a couple of people. I mean, some men and women on some different things of just at least broadening of mental horizons to where it's like, so you can not be so closed-minded. There are some things you can do that aren't all the way left, but not necessarily all the way right. And hey, experiment with this, so on and so forth. Or this is how you need to go about it. Even now to something as simple as locating the buildings, which is beyond me how that's even missed. But whatever the case may be. But outside of that, as far as talking to children, I haven't had to do that yet. I mean, probably my younger brothers, nothing bedroom excluded, but about here. So you use condoms to make sure, I used to pass out condoms to my room. And like, oh man, you got a condom, and here. And you condom, what you mean? I got another one. You trying to use all mine? But I'd rather you come to me for something than end up with something that's irreversible. Um, that's either disease or time. Before you're actually ready for it, you make a decision right now with your penis instead of your mind. So try to avoid certain consequences before you're actually ready to handle it. Now, when I do have kids, my goal, or my hope is like I want to be girls, and I'm like I want to be these chicks out here. I want to just teach them about the game, how it goes. You know what I mean? How not to really. I mean, try to help them avoid getting their hearts broken as much as possible. I really just keeping it rough, regular, raw. My mother taught me, man, I'm 10 years old. She asked me if I knew the difference between having sex and making love. Those conversations we started to have. Just kind of variants of. That was before the threats, because then later on, like, she pregnant, get that girl pregnant, other people behind you get shot down, you gonna marry the girl, you not gonna do to her what your father been doing to these other women out here, and so on and so forth. So that helped me not, pull out the driveway late, and just kind of like the culmination of all the good things, not less of the negative reinforcements. Like I want to teach my children, and that's boys or girls. Right now, at this point, I would like to have a boy as well. So he can just be a solid man out here in the streets, and just because I feel like it's just unfortunately lacking. So let me have a seed that I can do feel like the world needs.
It's interesting you bring up condoms. I remember when I was about 18 years old, there was this place called the Virgin Mega Store, Richard Branson's company. And they had this promotion where they were giving out condoms that said Virgin Mega Store, right? So, when you're young, you don't have as much money. So they just had them in like at the store, like in like these bowls of condoms that you could just take. So a lot of dudes was taking them, right? And then so we were like, oh, cool, free condoms, right? And then the guy that worked there was like, hey man, did you look at the fine print? And the fine print said that it's not really fit to be used. But they were actual condoms, right? So I'm wondering how many kids were born because of these fake ass condoms that they were putting out there, on the streets. But so because
That's wild.
they're right, yeah. So yeah, a lot of guys were taking them too. They were just like, "Who's gonna read the fine print on the condom, right?"
But even with that, like certain condoms, I would teach people which ones to stay away from. Your ex was a brand that's like, yeah, unless you want to have a baby, don't take your ex. Don't fool with Rough Riders. Anything coming from the health clinic, no, that is breaking consent.
Or the gas station bathroom.
Yeah, or the gas station bathroom. Oh hell no, that is a disease or whatever waiting to happen. That is, so yeah, the whole condom thing. There was a science to the condoms too. And then Trojans were always solid. You know, lifestyle sometimes they used to be solid too. The Trojans took over, and then magnets were birthed. That changed the game in a lot of different ways. It hurts the egos, but it also helps to keep it out.
It's ego. Hilarious, hilarious. All right. So one last thing before we say goodbye. Has anybody ever experimented with enhancements, like in maybe in a pill form, or some sort of
Penis pump.
it can be pumps. It can be. We talked about that the Blue Chew. Remember, on the first episode of the year, we talked about this thing called Blue Chew as well. Has anybody ever experiment or maybe heard of? If you don't want to say you did it, you could always do the whole. I know this
Ask your
guy.
friend.
I have a friend. You know. So anybody wants to?
I'll go. So I mean, I'm laughing about it because I'm with this person, so it doesn't, right? So, not to say that he needed it, right? We would have sex when my husband and I were while we were dating. I would want to have sex like every second, right? I'm talking about there. The most I think we would have is like 7, 8 times a day. We would like fuck, eat, sleep, right? And it was like this one time I remember saying like, oh, I want to have more and more sex because I remember it was at a point where his dick was hurting, right? So I was like, no. I remember, so I went to the adult store and I got these pills, right? And I poured it into his drink because I wanted him to stay longer, right? Harder, longer. And so I'm sorry. I don't know why I'm laughing about it now because I just thought about it. No, you know why? Because I just thought about it, and it's so bad looking back. This was years ago, though, right? Like, and I just wanted him to not hurt, because I like every time he would nut, like if it was like more than 6 times, it was just like, come on, are you serious? Like again? And so I wanted more from him, and so I just drugged him so I could
Okay,
I mean, I told him about it though. And so he just thought it was funny and that was it. But I would never do something like that now. Like I was so young at that time. So yeah.
Wasn't that like a year ago?
No.
I just want to say for the record, there are worse problems for men to have. That is a problem for a lot of men.
She roofied him. Hilarious.
Yeah.
Okay, Cardi B.
I did. I'm sorry.
Hilarious. Anybody else have any enhancements?
Like a stamina pill, but that was only because my homeboy was hyping it. He's like, yo, it was something called a China box or something like that. Excuse me. So he was like, yo, pop this with a shot of Hennessy and it's over for him. So, all right, cool. I'm not gonna take it with a shot of Hennessy, but I will try it. And yeah, it did the job. It did the job.
What's it called?
Something called a China box.
The China bot.
Yeah.
Oh,
China
okay.
box. China box.
Box. Okay.
Yeah.
Where'd you get it from?
I don't know where he got it from, which makes it even more dumb that I took it. But but yeah, it did what it did.
Was there any side effects?
Say it again.
Was there any side effects?
No, I was good. I mean, it was a little flutter in the heart there because you got so much energy. Outside of that, it wasn't nothing crazy.
Oh shit! Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. So, circa 2004, Charlotte, North Carolina. I had the bright idea to try my cousin. Shout out to my cousin, like the older brother I never had. He told me about this pill called Stamina RX. You can get it from the local gas station, convenience store, or whatever. So me, with my bright self, I'm like, I didn't need it because, especially at that time, I was told I was lasting too long anyway. But I was like, let me just try this shit out. I was going to my girl house, so I went and got some water, took one pill. That was the worst mistake I've ever made in my life. And I tell you, y'all was hard for like 3 hours before I even got close to the pussy. Like before I even got, and my heart was fluttering. I couldn't, our erection wouldn't go down. We smashed for like 2 hours, and then my dick was still hard for like another 2 hours afterwards. And I was never in my life thought I was having like heart attacks, and my heart kept skipping a beat. I'm like, what the fuck is in here? Like, I threw the rest of the package away. I'm like, I would never do that shit again. Like, why would I do this to myself? I'm sweating in this motherfucker. Like, my girl was like, why won't it go down? I'm like, I don't know. I ain't want to tell her I took this Stamina RX.
Hey, bro, go hard or go home.
Oh, well, I went hard. I definitely went hard.
Maybe you should have done a half.
Didn't go home.
Yeah, I left hard too. Shit.
Maybe if you did a half a pill, maybe would that have made a difference?
Maybe it would have, but I'm like, I didn't need it. I was just experimenting with shit. And then after that, I just stuck with my regular regimen. Red Bull and vodka is a good enough aphrodisiac. If you're smoking, you know what I mean, little Mary Jane, that's a good enough aphrodisiac. You know what I mean? Maybe some red wine, that's a wonderful aphrodisiac. I'll stick with those things that I can control in moderation. I don't know what the fuck is in that pill. And yeah, I never do that shit again.
Somebody's saying blue dolphin in the chat room. Mike.
The blue.
Yeah, I had to look it up.
Exos. That's an exo. I've never popped an exo. No bean, no MD, none of that.
What's the XO?
Ecstasy pill.
Oh, okay, Molly. Okay.
Blue Dolphin was one of the brands of variants of ecstasy.
Steph says, "Wait, it's called Stamina RX. I need to write these down."
Yeah,
no, I don't know if they make it, but they got some natural libido. You can go to a holistic store and get some.
No, they have it. No,
Steph said,
"Oh, they still got Stamina already." Yo, it's in the same package. It's in there like octagon.
Yeah,
it's in that stop sign shape.
Yeah, they still have it. It's on the market.
So 15 years ago, I took this pill. I would never again.
And they actually come in the 2 tablet pack, or like if you just for the night, or they come in the 40 count. FYI.
Yeah, I don't. So I bought the one that came in the 2-pack. I took one and I threw the other in the garbage.
He's like, hell no.
Yeah, if you don't need the help, take half of that money.
I've heard seaweed. Have you heard of that?
Oh yeah, seaweed. There's like horny goat weed, seaweed, ginseng. You know the root in it. That's another thing that you can use.
Someone mentioned a pump. Was that you, Maisha?
Yeah, that was Marisol.
Yeah, that was Marisol.
No, you know what? I guess I'm ignorant. What does the pump actually do?
It's supposed to, so it doesn't do anything other than it creates a vacuum that helps it expand. So like anything, if you put your lip in a cup and you suck on, better yet, a beer bottle, right? You put your lip on a beer bottle and you suck on it and your lip goes through the beer bottle, your lip gets bigger. So basically it's the same thing with this penis pump. You put it on your penis, you pump it up, you create that vacuum, it gets thicker and longer because it's filling the chamber, but it doesn't do anything long-term for you. At least not in my experience.
You mean just for that session?
Correct.
It's beneficial, but after that, you go back. You go from the Hulk back to Banner, basically.
Right.
Okay, I get you. I always wondered I never really knew what the pump was all about.
So, do you know? Did you talk to the guy about like the sensation afterwards? Does it feel the same for him? Like, does it get as erect or is it more erect? You know what I mean? Like, does it? You know, I never understood how to fully.
I never questioned.
So, did you feel a difference?
No.
You just felt it was bigger and stronger, longer, or whatever, but it wasn't.
It's like remember them shoes back in the day? You pump it. Yeah. So would any woman have any? So the woman does it to the guy, or does he do it?
He can
Or
do it himself.
okay, would anybody have a aversion to pumping their guy up before a session?
We're not. I'm not doing that over here.
No
Yeah.
pumping.
Like extra
You're
step.
not,
I'm not
you're
doing.
not pumping him up.
I'm not. So you know what I actually just found out.
Wait a
the other
minute.
day? Go ahead.
You're not pumping the guy up, so you wouldn't give him oral sex because it's the same concept.
No, I'm not. So it's not because so sucking dick, if I want to in that moment, is because it's for me as well. Not only for him, but I want to feel pleasure too. Me pumping him up is just for him to literally. I feel like that's an ego booster. Like that's not. You said it. There's no feeling as far as it being different. So I feel like that's just like for him psychologically. I feel like he's like, yeah, look what I'm working with over here because it feels so different, and it's just like, come on. Like, come on. Like, if it feels no different, and it's just like, come on.
Well, maybe it's psychological.
That's what I just said.
It makes him better though.
No, for him, yeah. And I'm saying that's what I'm saying. Like, for him mentally, it does something for him because he's like, yeah, like, look what I'm working with today. I mean, I wasn't working with this yesterday, but look what I'm working with right now. But other than that, no, I'm not. He could do that himself, or like, I feel like that's an extra step that I just don't want to take. Like, I want to like be seduced, and I want to seduce. Like, you know, whoever I'm dealing with, but not having to go that extra step. I feel like that's too time consuming. Like, how long does this pump last for? Like, and how long does it take to pump up? You know what I just found out actually too the other day that so the penis pumper, it's actually a procedure that you can have, that men could have to get on the side. Like it's literally, I remember someone that worked in TSA for the TSA, and they said he admitted like you have the pump on the side and they get surgically, they have it on them where they just pump up before they have sex and they have sex. Like it's on them. They get the surgery for it. And I didn't know that. And then we had to look it up because we were playing a game at my neighbor's house and we looked it up and we were like, oh snap, this shit is real. Like men are out here getting full penis pump surgery. And I was like, interesting. The more you know. The more you know.
That would.
Is that what we calling it?
Wow.
I forgot what it's called, but no, I think it is like, let me look it up. But I'm telling you, I was just like, I didn't know that. Like, it's a surgery that you could get to pump your penis for men.
That would be kind of funny though, right before sex is about to happen. He's like, wait a minute.
Yep.
All right, ready to go. Let's do it. And then you just toss the pump and then you're ready to go. That's hilarious. So what's unfortunate if a guy has to do that, that's I feel for that dude. But man, that's crazy.
I learned something new today.
Yeah, man. See, we've learned a lot. We've learned a lot tonight, and I want to thank this wonderful panel. You guys are amazing. And before we get into the goodbyes, I just want to let people know tomorrow night we'll be joined by sex coach Maisha Hudson, and me and Shannon will be asking her a lot of questions and relaying questions. We'll have an open seat. We're doing this all on Get Vocal, so this will not be on YouTube. It'll be on Get Vocal, so you guys can hop in if you'd like and ask questions to Maisha. So we're going to interview her, talk about the things that she's up to, what it's like being a sex coach, and how she helps people and all that good stuff. She's a great guest, awesome lady. You guys will love her. And that's tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 Eastern on the Get Vocal platform. So we will not be on YouTube. We'll be on just Get Vocal. All right. So, of course, I want to start off with the ladies. I'm going to start off with Marisol. How can people get you on social media?
I'm on Facebook as Mari Cruz. I am on Instagram as Latina NYC 0.
All right. And thank you so much, Marisol. You're amazing.
Thank you.
All right. And Jada, how can we get you on social media? Tell us about your program as well.
So I am Jada Lopez. I'm a relationship coach. And I talk about sex, love, relationships. You could get me on all social media platform by at Jada Lopez, spelled JAIDALOPEZ, on all social media. So everything is exactly the same: Instagram, Twitter, Get Vocal, Periscope, just about, yeah, Snapchat, everything
All
at
right.
Jada Lopez. Thank you.
All right. And it's when's your show again?
Oh yeah, and so that's what I meant to say also. And my show on Get Vocal is every Wednesday, or sometimes every other Wednesday, at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
All right.
And we have live conversations.
Love your show, and of course, we all love you. So
Aw,
thank you so
you.
much. All right. And Dad, how can we get you in social media? And when are you gonna do a show, man?
That's a good question. I guess when I have something to talk about, or some type of general topic to talk about, and of course I'll grab you guys as guests, and we'll work that out. But social media, Twitter and IG at Dead No A. That's DED_NO_A. Facebook is Dedrick Williams, DEDRICK, last name Williams. Snapchat is King Dead, KINGDED.
All right, man. And Anthony, how can we get you in social media? And when is your show starting?
Social media is going to be Twitter, Instagram, really just those two. And Snapchat is the same, but I don't really be on it because I feel like I'm too old for Snapchat. But anyway, Free for Real. That's FREEPHAREAL. So again, that's Twitter and IG, Facebook. I'm not really on that very much, so those are the best ways to get at me. As far as my show, I'm looking at about a week, maybe a week and a half, that we can get this gun show popping up real soon.
Oh, we do have one that we are going to do together.
Oh yeah, we got the Sack Bros show too.
Definitely.
All right, can't wait.
So Sack Bros show's coming up. We're gonna do it in May as well.
I can't wait, man. Looking forward to it. And my wonderful co-host, Shannon, how can we get you on social media? Tell us about your book. And you have a program that's starting Saturday? Sunday. Okay.
Shannon Ford Jefferson, Ford like the president, hyphen Jefferson like the president. There's only one. You can find me on IG, Twitter, and Facebook. Of course, catch me here on Mondays. Sunday, May 5th, I start my own show on Get Vocal called A Set Apart Woman. And actually, you'll catch me on Get Vocal a couple of days this week. Tomorrow, again, with Kente. Wednesday, with Dr. Vibe. Friday, with Melvin, Mr. Nobody Asked You. And Sunday, with myself.
And you just need a Thursday and a Saturday. And then you got
it probably won't be out till 2020 now because we're doing some revamping over at Vital Narrative. But big things are happening with the publishing company. Shout outs to VN. Yeah. So how can we catch you on social media? Kente B. Ferguson.
You can get me at Kente F on Twitter and Kente Ferguson at Instagram. And of course, the website is indyradio.org. It's indyradio.org. The website is down just for today. It'll be back up tomorrow, just some maintenance stuff. But I would like to thank everybody. And please make sure you guys come tomorrow for our conversation with Maisha. With all that said, you guys have a beautiful week. And also, rest in peace to John Singleton. John Singleton was a terrific filmmaker who made, some seminal movies. I think a lot of us were around the same age, so we grew up with his work, whether it's Boys in the Hood, Baby Boy, even he produced Hustle and Flow and Poetic Justice. So he was a fantastic filmmaker and an awesome person. And our thoughts and prayers is for his family. And it's very tragic. And he was so young; he was only like 51 years old. So very sad. Yeah. So with that said, we'll see you guys on the Get Vocal platform, and God bless.
Have a good night.